This is a high-stakes lesson in kinetic energy and buffer space. At that velocity, the rider attempts a lane split with zero margin for error. The moment he clips the car, his gyro stability is gone, sending him into a slide right toward the truck's axles. Technically, he's lucky his momentum carried him parallel to the tires instead of under them. Watching this, you can almost feel the driver's frustration. Technically, the issue starts with the center of gravity. By rotating that excavator 180 circ while on an incline, the truck's rear axles are suddenly fighting an uphill battle with zero traction. As the tires lose their grip, the truck's static friction turns into a backward slide. Once that momentum shifts, the point of no return hits, and the machinery just loses its balance. You can hear the engine screaming here, but that sound is a warning. Technically, the driver is carrying way too much kinetic momentum into a lane change. As he hits the road divider, the car's suspension geometry is completely disrupted, causing a total loss of tire-to-asphalt friction. Once those tires lose their bite, the car becomes a passenger to its own weight, sliding off the road and out of control. The velocity differential here is staggering. Technically, the rear driver is carrying way too much kinetic energy relative to the flow of traffic, making a collision almost mathematically certain. By clipping the rear quarter panel, they instantly disrupt the lead car's lateral stability, sending it into an uncontrolled slide. This is a high-stakes center of mass. Technically, by locking the front tire, the riders have traded their steering geometry for pure gyro stability. But once that swing or oscillation starts, they lose their lateral balance entirely. Without the front tire to provide a correctional vector, the bike drifts off track. This is a chilling lesson in load-bearing physics. Technically, when the truck stops suddenly, the kinetic energy of that container doesn't stop with it. Because the center of gravity shifted to the left, the lack of proper lateral restraints caused a total structural failure. Watching that biker is heart-stopping. He's caught in the danger zone by a matter of inches. Technically, when both riders lock their front tires into a wheelie, they've severely compromised their vertical field of vision. They aren't looking at the road anymore. They're looking at their own handlebars. Because a bike on one wheel lacks lateral maneuverability, neither rider could create a correctional path once they realized they were on a collision course. This is a chilling look at what happens when right-of-way and timing fail at an intersection. Technically, we're seeing a classic T-bone collision, where the truck's massive linear momentum is transferred directly into the side of the car. This is a heart-stopping moment at the intersection. When the truck initiates a right-hand turn, the cyclist maintaining a straight vector enters the truck's primary blind spot. Because of the truck's massive turning radius, the cyclist is caught in the pinch point between the vehicle and the curb. The physics in this intersection are intense. Technically, the car from the east is carrying massive linear momentum, but because the southbound vehicle impacts it at the rear quarter panel, that energy is instantly converted into rotational torque. Essentially, the back of the car is pushed out from under it, causing a total loss of directional stability. This footage is absolutely bone-chilling. Technically, we're looking at a heavy vehicle that has lost all braking authority, likely due to mechanical failure or brake fade. At that high velocity, the truck's kinetic energy is massive, and as it leaves the roadway, it becomes a multi-ton projectile. This is a heart-stopping example of emergency braking and human reaction latency. Technically, the driver is forced into a panic stop where the vehicle's anti-lock braking system ABS has to maximize static friction and drop off speed in a matter of feet. Because the boy entered the roadway without checking the traffic flow, he was completely unaware of the closing velocity of the car. It's a miracle the driver was alert. The boy's survival came down to a sudden deceleration of his own momentum. That split-second hesitation where he stopped moving forward is the only reason he stayed out of the vehicle's impact path. I'll be honest, I was holding my breath watching him scramble. The way he fought against his own momentum to roll out before those rear dual tires reached him is nothing short of a survival instinct masterpiece. The moment he applies the brakes, his static friction becomes kinetic friction, causing the bike to slide out from under him. The momentum carries him directly into the kill zone under the side of a moving truck. This is a massive leap with an unfortunately high price. Technically, the rider executes a great vertical launch, but the trouble starts with his attitude adjustment in the air. For a successful landing on a sloppy, downhill grade, your bike's wheels need to be perfectly parallel to the slope to transition that downward momentum into forward motion. Because he didn't stick the landing angle, his vertical velocity turned into a violent bounce. Because he's carrying so much kinetic energy, he can't make the necessary lean angle correction in time. He enters what we call target fixation, where he's so focused on the edge of the road he's about to miss that he accidentally steers right into it. Once the tires leave the asphalt, the coefficient of friction drops to near zero, and the bike becomes impossible to recover. At these slow speeds, bikes actually have less gyroscopic stability than they do at high speeds, making them more susceptible to tipping when bumped. When the first bike made contact, it acted as a lateral force that the second bike's center of gravity couldn't compensate for. When two cars collide at these speeds from opposite directions, the impulse or the change in momentum is instantaneous. The crumple zones are designed to absorb energy, and at this velocity, structural deformation often reaches the safety cell. The moment the crane arm extends to move the car toward the land, the load radius increases. This shifts the center of gravity outside the crane's stability base. Without enough counterweight, the overturning moment exceeds the crane's capacity, and physics takes over. The moment those chains or straps failed, the excavator transitions from a secured load into a falling object with massive potential energy. The tragedy here is the collision course with the car in the opposite lane. Honestly, my goal with these breakdowns isn't just to show the impact, but to help us all understand the why so we can stay safer on the road. Every time we analyze a center of gravity shift or a braking distance failure, we're becoming more aware drivers and riders. If you found these insights helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe. It helps the channel reach more people and spreads the message of road safety.